Hello. In this video, I'm going to be going over how to graph points. It is important to note that the word points can also be interchanged for the term coordinate pairs. So here we have our coordinate plane. So that is our graphing space that you have, and you may be asked to possibly graph points. And I will also include videos moving forward regarding how to graph some of our other functions that you may be tested on for Algebra 1 or geometry. So with our coordinate plane and what's known as our coordinate pairs, you will be given points. Now these points will be written in X, comma, Y format. It's very important to know that the X will be before the Y in terms of the point. So to start off with, I'm going to go ahead and give us a point. So we are going to start off with the point 2, comma 3. With this point, since the X is first, that means our X coordinate is 2 and our Y coordinate will be 3. Now, how it is placed on our graph means that we need to satisfy both pieces of this pair. So we're going to start off with the X. The X is a positive 2. On your graph, you will notice that the X is labeled. That is our horizontal axis. So to find the 2, you will look left to right, and you'll notice the positives are to the right of the center, which is also known as our origin. So 2 is over here on the right. That is very important to note that this is not where we put our final point. That is just where we need to start our point, but then we do need to acknowledge the Y part of our point. So where I am located currently with my cursor, that is at the positive 2, then I need to satisfy the positive 3 in terms of the Y. What that means for us is we need to move up and down until we notice that we are matched up with a Y value of positive 3. So I'm going to go ahead and make some markings. So again, we were at positive 2. Positive 3 will be going up, and I will know I have made it to my points if I look to the side where the Y-axis is written and I see the number 3. Where those two lines meet, meaning where it is 2 on the X and 3 on the Y, that is where our point is located. That is where you would be marking it on your graph. So right there is our point 2, comma 3. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put another point as well so we can kind of keep practicing this. With the positive and negatives, we're going to go ahead and try some of these. So we're going to start off with a negative X value. So this next point that we're going to graph is going to be negative 4, comma 2. Again, the first number you see is your X coordinate. The second part will be your Y. To start, we are going to locate the X on the X axis. So I will scan left and right until I find negative 4. Negatives will be to the left. I have found my negative 4. And then I need to follow up or down until I reach my Y value. Well, positives for the Y will be going up. So from here, I am following upwards until I match at a positive 2. Again, where those two lines meet, where it satisfies both parts of that point, that is where I have my actual point graphed. So that is my negative 4, comma 2. With our coordinate plane, each quadrant, meaning each section, there are 4 different sections in this, the points will represent specific positive and negatives. Now I'm going to go ahead and indicate that here on our graph as well. If I am in what's called quadrant 1 or Q1, your points will both be positive numbers. So both that x and that y will be positive. Over on the top left, that's quadrant 2. In quadrant 2, your x value will be negative, but your y will remain positive. I'm going to keep following counterclockwise to the bottom left. That is our Q3. For Q3, both the x and the y will be negative. And finally, in Q4, your x will now become positive, but your y will be negative. So just giving that information, if I was to give us another point, without fully finding it, we can determine which quadrant it is in. So I'm going to go ahead and give us the point -3, -5. I am looking at my signs. Since both are negative, the quadrant that has it, where x and y are both negative, will tell me that this point will lie somewhere in quadrant 3. So this will be somewhere in quadrant 3. That is how you graph a point. Again, being careful to make sure that you are acknowledging the signs, as well as following through and ensuring the x is the first number written in the coordinate pair and the y is the second. In the next graphing series, I will go through how to graph linear functions, which is super important for Algebra 1 courses, as well as those exams that you may need to pass for your state test.